I'm assuming.
Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting. Wow, the volume is loud. Let me back this up a little bit. This meeting will be recorded, televised, and streamed on Foxborough Cable Access, and participation by Zoom per Governor Baker's COVID-19 guidelines. Could I have the people, the members sign in? Judy?
Oh, there's Jeff.
I don't hear any volume. Can you hear me, Judy? Okay. Jeff? Rich?
Here.
Now, Rich is here.
Jeff.
Peter.
Peter?
Oh, they're not talking to us.
Okay.
They're still talking to each other.
All right.
We need to get
And Dave? Can you get his eye is...
Wilbrady Street is not for a while.
You're on, Judy, so could you zoom in?
They're having like a sidebar conversation here, so.
Oh, okay.
Have they been invited into the meeting?
Well, that's what I'm...
Here.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Okay. I cannot hear you, Judy.
I'll text Judy.
Peter? Nope. Everybody's on mute.
I can hear them here.
Yeah.
Oh. Technicalities.
Big crowd at the funeral.
Yeah.
Like I can hear them here, but I can't hear them out there. Bob, you're on mute. They say that.
Okay, I'm not talking, well, okay.
They
Why
definitely.
don't you wave? Why don't you wave
I
and
can-
see if that
I can
catches their
faintly hear
attention?
them.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Can't hear you. She's saying she can't hear you.
She can't hear us and we can't hear her. I've got to get at least one of them in.
Is there, because this, like, the microphones sound like they're in here and not going out on the thing. On you guys.
Hi, Rich. You are all on mute, is what he's saying. Someone's saying.
All right, let's see what Judy wrote. We can't hear you, Judy wrote.
Yeah.
I wonder
They
if she
think
can
we're all
see
on
us.
mute.
Well, Zoom had a problem.
The
with
live
this
feed is
morning.
muted.
Yes. Can they hear me?
No, he's saying we're muted.
All right.
Let's see, you can't hear us, right?
Can you text Jeff and ask him if he could
As I just did.
come in?
Judy
Oh.
said they can't hear her.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
I see.
I need four to,
We can't get started,
yeah.
Zoom crashed yesterday
Yeah,
afternoon,
can
evening.
can you text Jeff?
Yeah.
Ask him if he can come in.
All right, I don't know who I'm talking to. Let's see.
Okay.
Can you come in? We need to start.
Jan Novak is talking.
Mike was here, he loud.
Mike, yeah. Do you have Mike's number then? Is that what you're doing?
I think he found that funny.
Got an email, we don't have his phone number.
I don't know who I'm talking to. Maybe it's Judy?
Yeah, were you able to text Jeff?
They texted whoever this was. Let me see. Let me find Jeff.
Do you have his phone? Do you have his?
Jeff, I do, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There we go. In.
At the technical difficulties. It's streamed through the cable access, so that's why it's not like a regular Zoom thing. It's something to do with the cable.
What if they all signed out and signed back in again?
What does it say? Total with video
Oh, I'm
participants.
talking to two people. I don't know who this one is.
Jane, do you have Jeff's number in your, see if you can text him and.
I did text Jeff.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
Jeff's, yeah.
Okay, and is he,
I don't know. Here he goes. There are 6 of us as long as the feed volume is on. Yeah, okay, that's the problem.
can they see us? If I walk up to him and say, come in?
I'll ask him.
I can hear him in here. I can hear him on this little screen over here.
Yeah, but I need,
Not helping us any.
and that's not gonna help. I need 4.
Yeah, he just indicated he can. How can we hear faintly?
We can hear him because they can hear it in there. So there's got to be a way for him to,
Yeah, but he
Project it
can't
out
figure
here.
out how to get it.
I think that he doesn't usually do this so much. Isn't this fun?
Yes.
I should have ignored my reminder tonight. Just finished setting up a bunch of furniture and then
Oh,
I was gonna sit down to eat and have a drink and then my reminder went off telling me that I had this meeting tonight. So I completely blanked on it.
oh.
Select memory.
Could be. Well, it was a nice night, so that doesn't help.
Good.
Where Mike went, maybe Mike can come back.
All right, let me see.
Yeah, they can see us, Jeff says.
Okay.
Where's the cable guy? Yeah, it's a movie.
Okay.
Speakers is an active audio is checked. This is an active audio.
Okay.
It's going to blast us. You better watch out.
Yeah.
You're right.
Let's change to, oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't see the minutes.
Give you time to catch up.
I think it broke
I
yesterday.
say give you time to catch up.
I didn't see these at all.
Oh,
Forgotten
okay.
about
Zoom
it.
in general, the whole thing crashed yesterday.
Did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they said
Hey,
Hey,
1 to 2 days, and I laughed. I said, "No, really, how long is it going to take?" And they stuck. They've persisted. Now, mind you, I'm in the lab business, right? I'm on phone calls with Mayo Clinic like weekly, and I'm figuring it's going to be 3 to 5 days.
we have volume
Nurse
now.
Ann said, "Yeah, we only call you if it's positive. If it's negative, you have to like go look it up yourself on their portal. They use LabCorp.
Peter, can you hear us?
Okay.
So we got it done on Friday, and I'm thinking, all right, there's no way. So I'll check on Monday morning. So I did. I logged in this morning, and it was done yesterday at 8 a.m. So they
Peter?
actually had it done in 2
Kinda
days.
funny.
I was shocked.
He can
Wow.
hear you.
So I think that
Peter?
hospitals and laboratories are trying to ramp up because they
Are we
know
still
that
muted?
there's another wave
Wave
coming
your arms.
this
Peter?
fall and this winter, like especially kids going back to school. I mean, the amount of testing that is going to be asked of laboratories and institutions is going to be just immense. So, but yeah, so it took about 48 hours, surprisingly.
That's amazing,
Peter?
because I had some friends that went and got tested.
We can hear them now.
we can hear them, but they still can't hear
Now
us.
they're too loud.
We can hear them,
But they can't hear us. Yeah, is there a,
He should be considered host, and he should be allowing people to do things.
can't you unmute it in the corner? That little thing in the corner?
Okay, now we've lost him.
No, he turned it down.
Oh, okay.
Get tested on Saturday when it goes back up,
Options, he says.
and then they're gonna test every 4 days,
Are they?
Where's she going to school, Jeff?
UNH.
Having a conversation with
Yeah,
themselves.
Not
Every 4
content,
days.
I don't think that this cable is in it.
It's a self-test, nasal, it's not the, in your brain.
Okay. Oh, so they're doing it themselves?
As they go forward, they'll be doing it
no.
themselves.
Interesting. Very
Right there?
interesting.
Can he unmute it right there?
Curious how that works. I know like a coworker, he's out of North Shore.
Doesn't that say
They can
unmute?
hear us now.
call Jeff?
Yay.
We can't see or hear them.
I didn't do
We can't
Jeff, I
see-
told,
Yeah,
Okay,
unmute
yeah.
down the bottom there.
We can't see you guys.
Can't see us now, huh?
It says they're still muted. And the video's off.
Jeff,
So, yeah, they're saying they can't see or hear.
can you hear me, Jeff?
No,
No.
No. Jeff can't see or hear.
it's down at the bottom here. All you gotta
Right
do is
there.
unmute those.
Right there.
I think it's the cable thing that's just complicating.
Yeah, okay, but have you been able to call Jeff?
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us now, Judy?
Nope.
No.
All right, let me see.
Okay, now what? Now
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, guys? Can you hear us? No. Jeff?
Jeff?
Judy?
Peter?
Anyone?
Nope.
No.
And they said they couldn't see us either.
Yeah, right.
Maybe we'll have a very short meeting tonight.
We just asked if you could see us. Let's see. We'll get some.
That didn't work. That was my idea.
Jane, have you,
I'm trying, I don't have his, I'm telling Judy.
All right, we're good.
Yeah,
can hear you.
we hear you now.
Oh, oh,
Yes.
Hear you.
for
Yay.
joy,
Here
for
and see you
joy.
guys.
Can you see us?
can you see us?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. I guess the meeting will resume. 7 o'clock, no public comments. 7:05. Oops, where's the folder? You want to read it, David? Just public notice, please.
This is for Beaumont Pond Dam?
No,
No,
no.
Taylor Road.
67? I got 54 Taylor Road.
Okay, yeah.
You want that one? Okay.
Yeah, this, yep.
I was going to say,
Okay. Foxborough Conservation Commission, notice of public hearing. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public hearing on Monday, August 24th, 2020, at 7:05 p.m. in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, on a request for a determination of applicability filed by Jonathan Brooks to install a seasonal floating dock, to extend the existing deck, and to replace a damaged garage at 54 Taylor Road, Assessors Map 179, parcel 4437, within 100 feet of a wetland resource area. Application is available for public inspection in the Conservation Office at the Town Hall, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. This notice also can be found in the Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks, you want to come up? Want to give us a little synopsis of what, and if you don't mind, would you, because I cannot understand 90% of it when the masks are on, so.
No problem. So I'm interested in doing some work on the property, which entails adding a extension to the existing deck that we have, and also adding a dock that would extend off that deck. There's also a garage, an existing garage that was damaged in a snowstorm that needs to be torn down and replaced.
Okay. I know Jane was out, I was out today. I think the care you've taken for the waterfront that is undisturbed is remarkable. Most people like to have grass right down to the water, and you've kept yours pristine. I looked at it. I don't know if anyone else has looked at it besides Jane and I, but any comments, Jane?
do you want me to say my part?
I read your report.
You read the report?
Yep.
Yeah, basically, I visited the site, and I, too, was impressed that you had actually kept out of the 25-foot buffer. And you basically are requesting 2 smallish but wide decks that step down, yes?
Right.
Okay. And because of the fact that he has over 300 feet of waterfront, and I couldn't find the number, and has taken such good care of the buffer zone, which, as we all know, we were always harping on preserving the buffer zone. I really don't think it's going to make much of an impact to add these features, especially if he were to do something that I saw during my recent visit to a national park, where there's spaces in between each of the boards, a relatively wide space so that all the water could go through easily. He wants to cut down a couple of trees as well that are large, but they are infested with carpenter ants, and he doesn't want them to fall in his house, which is understandable. He has lots and lots and lots of trees in his property.
Yes. Yep.
And he also wants to reconstruct the garage once it is raised. He wanted, it's like 2 pieces, a larger part and then a smaller piece, and he wanted to fill in the back corner to make it all the same width. But that back corner is close to the 25-foot no disturb zone in the waterfront, so I suggested having him widen his garage on the upland side, and asked him to consider that, because I believed that the commission would probably need a notice of intent if there was going to be alteration on the water side of this garage. And that's about it. I think it's not unreasonable. He has a great buffer zone, and he gets an A+.
Did anybody zooming in be able to get down there?
No.
No.
No, I wasn't able to get down because I've been on quarantine, but I did look it up on Google Earth and, was able to zoom in and see exactly what you're talking about. So looks like it's been kept very nice.
Jeff, any comments?
So
Oh,
I'm just curious, with Jane's suggestions about the garage, is that something that is going to be done? In terms of, because I can see that the garage is kind of dilapidated. And my
Kinda is a mute point,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, the garage needs to be
So I-
replaced, and the garage is L-shaped. And what I had originally thought was I could just make it a complete rectangle. It would still be in the same border as the rest of the garage, but making it a rectangle. But after having the visit from Jane, I decided that it's just as easy to extend it on the other side. So I'm happy to do that instead.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was my only question, was the garage, how it was going to be rebuilt, so.
Jeff, any comments?
No, I mean, the only question, I haven't been out that for a long time, but the dock is about the same, no different than anybody else's, I'm assuming, as far as size.
Correct.
It's what,
Yes, and he is asking for permission to put it in.
Yeah,
I know that all of them haven't done that. Not everybody has done that.
exactly.
right. So no, I just am curious. I have no problem. I'm just curious. Is that pretty similar to what other people have done for sizes?
Say that again?
It's actually smaller than most of the other docks.
Okay, yeah, I'm just curious. I'm not, like I said, I haven't been out there, and I have no problem with, based on James' comments, so. I'm more just curious at this point.
Okay. Rich, any comments?
No, if he's a good steward to the rest of the land.
Yeah. Peter?
No.
Not Peter.
Oh, sorry, David.
I'm trying to get all these, okay. Mr. Paca, how's that?
Okay, I'm looking at your plan that you submitted, your property plan. And it shows a property line that's going to be in the intermediate dock area, and your shoreline dock is going to be on someone else's property, according to this plan. Have you clarified that 1909 plan is wrong?
It's not wrong, it's just different. And the property goes to the water edge, and it's just that where the line was in 1909 is different than where it is today. So we went through this, and I think we resolved that question.
I think the deal is that it's the only great pond in town. The city of Attleboro, North Attleboro or Attleboro? Attleboro, it's
Yeah.
their water supply, but only the top 4 feet. So I'm assuming the top 4 feet is probably the height of their dam and the level above the original Great Pond, which, I can't guarantee, but it is lowered every year by 4 feet. So,
And sometimes more.
yes, and I don't know anything about the legalities of this, but perhaps they own the water. I don't know if they own the land, that additional 4 feet. But that said, he used to have a dock in this location. And for that matter, all the other people on this lake, many have docks. So I like to
Well,
reward
usually-
good behavior.
Yeah, usually owners of dams have the right to flood to a certain elevation, and there's a spike somewhere on the dam or something like that, that's a legal responsibility, that they can flood anything to that elevation. And in some places, they actually might own the land under the water. Depends what they did way back then. So I'm just saying that, owner beware. If this property line is still true,
If you look at, and I had sent in a copy of the deed. The deed doesn't go by the line on that side. Towards the lake side, it's to the low water mark.
Oh,
Low
is
on
it?
that.
Is
Okay.
it? Okay, that's it then.
Just wanted to make sure that what you invest.
That's interesting, though.
Anything
My only concern would be where he would be putting in his silt fence and erosion controls for the
garage?
and that, I think we talked about this, that the footings for the decks be hand dug, not by machine. I doubt you could get a machine down there anyway. Is that okay? Does that sound good to you?
We could use a hand machine though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yeah,
one
the
of those.
bu-
We just don't want a big backhoe going down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's no
the bottom line is, for the Wetlands Protection Act, that you don't get any silt into the water. And if you're just using a little handheld machine, it's going to be a no-brainer. If you
Right,
were
that's
hoping
fine.
to use a bigger machine, it would be more of a pain in the neck for everyone.
So, someone want to make a motion for negative determination, which is, negative is good in this case. Good.
And might I add for special conditions?
Sure.
That the footings be hand dug.
Yeah,
And that a mulch-filled silt sock be installed around the perimeter of the work area
on the
where he
garage.
will, because you're going to have to do some stuff, but we don't want anything getting in there. And especially if you can, just on the water side, and if you can do all of your work away from the water side, even pulling the thing in and stuff with machinery or whatever,
You're talking about for the garage?
for the garage.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
that would be best. So basically,
Does he need to file something separate for the garage?
no, it's included. It is included in this.
Yep.
And he had wanted to increase the size of the footprint to fill in that L,
Yeah,
but now he's
Going-
pushing it
going
away.
away,
He
yeah.
needs it a certain size for his boat.
So is the garage, it says replacement, is that the size of what it's going to be? Not
it'll
what it
probably
is?
be a little bit
On
different.
the map that you have on the fourth page?
Yeah,
On that drawing, you can see in the uppermost corner,
yeah,
there's a little dotted line
Yeah.
that's faint. So that was the pre-existing garage.
so,
Oh,
And then I just wanted to extend it so that it's a full rectangle.
So how about this for an additional detail, that he speak to me about where to put the hay bales and silt, not the hay bales, we
Yeah.
don't use those anymore.
so, right.
The mulch
now it's
sock,
like This.
And
This
then
is
maybe
not-
have me run out and see where it is, and we can discuss
So he's
what you're
gonna move it
proposing, what you're
this way
planning to
take
do.
care of it,
Sure.
so it's okay. Yeah.
I know in your previous filing, you followed everything to the nth degree, so I have no concerns about that. but-
okay.
So do I hear a motion for a negative determination?
I'll make a motion for 54 Taylor Road, map 179, parcel 4437, for a negative determination with the stipulations that Jane had talked about as far as the silt sock and hand digging.
Second it?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I,
I,
Aye.
We'll go ahead and
Opposed?
we're gonna need a fourth person to come in to sign this.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, we'll need a fourth signature on it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Can
someone could run in
somebody
at
swing
some
by
point.
tomorrow and sign?
yeah, I can swing by.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you all.
Yep.
Thank you.
We have a continuation, Beaumont's Pond Dam, East Street, DEP 157596.
They sent an email this morning that they would like to continue to the next meeting. There's still some information they're waiting on from the homeowners association.
Okay.
So they'll be continued to September the 21st at 7:20.
Someone want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to continue the Beaumont's Pond Dam, DEP 157596 until 9/27, is that right?
9:21
9/21.
at 7:20.
That's a 7, okay.
Okay. Time to be determined. Do I hear a second on that?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
All right.
I,
Opposed? None. 715 with 67 Ridge Road, Assessors Map 135, DEP 157597. I'll give it that. I'll stick that with it. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, wait, that, all right. Want to continue what you were, from our last conversation? Is there any changes? Have you been to the Board of Health? Are you going to seek a variance from them, or is that a moot point now?
That's a moot point based on the way that the septic is positioned. I have concerns that if we start digging in that area, it's going to potentially cause a crack or damage within the septic system. I'd like to try to avoid that. I spoke with our architect as well. It's going to require a complete redesign of the roof in order to tie it in. Matching the existing frontage of it keeps it easy as far as aesthetically pleasing and also engineering structure-wise. After our last conversation, the site visit out, there were some questions about prior work and permitting. I went back through all the files. I have 4 copies for you guys to add to the records.
Okay.
I'll pass them over to you. Those permits have, those documents have copies of permits that were sought in 2004 by the original owners as part of the deal when my parents purchased the property. They include the pool, the structure. That was a question that was brought up last time, whether that was permitted or not permitted. The 2.5-story addition that was done at that time for the garage, the pool itself, and the removal. There's a bunch of permits in there, and there's about 17 pages worth of documents that document everything that was done, including a notice of conditions that was issued by this board at that time for the project that was going in.
Now, did any of that include those 2 concrete decks that you've got down in the water?
So the concrete decks originally were asphalt poured by the prior owner, and then when the dam levels were shifting, I believe, there was erosion issues, so they just fixed them and cleaned it up.
Okay. Jane? Comments?
Well, looked at a lot of the information from this filing, from all the previous filings, and, you know, I looked at the aerial photos, and Mr. Tibbetts, is he the one that you think filled in those piers, the peninsulas?
Yes.
Okay, because that wasn't part of his permit, and it doesn't show up in any of the aerial photos. In fact, his old plan showed that it kind of went like this, so it did not include those peninsulas. So I don't know what to say about that. That, from what I can gather, they were not permitted.
Well, like I committed to the board before, I'm happy to rectify any issues that were done by whomever else so we can be on par moving forward. I can't speak to what was done prior to our ownership, so.
A lot of the changes were made after 2004.
So again, going based on the documents that we have and from the timeline and the history that I have from my parents and the erosion issues that were occurring when the dam was being rebuilt, the things that they had done that area was already disturbed, and they cleaned it up and made it more aesthetically pleasing and added to the buffer zone rather than just taking away from what was already destroyed in that area.
Well, you all have the information that I found.
Yeah.
So they found no as-built plan for the septic system?
No. I poured over everything that they had records for.
Okay.
The minutes for the hearings, when this was first modified, that the two houses were being proposed to be raised and turned into one big house with a 4-bedroom septic system. And the FET Construction was saying that they wanted to get this done before Title V took effect. So there really is the next door neighbor has all of the permits and stuff all along, but his did not. So it's something you may want to check and make sure it's done okay.
Okay. I know we did a title inspection on the septic system, and based on that report that came back, it can handle more. We only have 3 bedrooms, and when that addition was proposed in 2004, it was kept at 3 bedrooms, so we haven't modified or changed anything from that.
Well, the original proposal was for 2 bedrooms, and the commission specified it stay at 2 bedrooms, and that is in the record as being 2 bedrooms. I don't know if they have the authority to require it being just 2 bedrooms, but depending on the septic size, and this isn't our bailiwick, this is the Board of Health's.
So the permit in the packet that I presented today was approved as to remain at 3 bedrooms. So whatever happened in that time frame between the 90s when it was being proposed or divided to the time that my parents bought it in 2004 and went into the agreement with the contractor and the landowner to build it, it was presented to the board as to be a 3-bedroom and to remain a 3-bedroom, and that's how it was built, and that's how the permit was issued. So that's the only information that I can go off of is what I found in those
Permit from building or permit from conservation?
The permit looks like it was from building, but I know there was the top part of it was conditions from this committee. So it was brought before this committee. I just don't have the full record of the notice of intent that was filed, I'm assuming, because there was I'm sorry if I don't have my vernacular correct, but you guys issued a notice of conditions for the approval of the building at that time, and I included that in that packet.
So are you saying that you really cannot move that garage?
Even if we were to be given a variance of a couple of feet, my concern again is that if we start digging and we hit that septic, moving it forward 2 or 3 feet, we're already outside of the 25-foot do not disturb zone. We engineered it in a way that is more costly but sounds and keeps it out of that 25-foot do not disturb zone. And to move it forward 2 feet and potentially hit the septic, I'm just concerned it's going to have more issues than that winning of the 2 feet further in and away from the lake.
When you got that report, when you had the Title V examination, was it a 1,000-gallon tank or 1,500?
I have to check with my parents, but I think it was even bigger than that, I think.
I think it might have been 1,500.
Yeah, okay, at least 1,500. So you know where the pump out manhole is, right, on
Yes.
that? The dimensions of those tanks are all standard, and you almost could measure it out exactly where it is. And then usually at both ends, when the pipe comes in and the pipe goes out, they also have little blocks, you can pull those, and you get exact length, what it is.
Jane,
And
do you have
just
that?
need the width, and you'll find out exactly where it is.
Which one?
Where it shows the septic that was added in.
Yeah.
Now, what's puzzling to me is I've never seen a septic tank with 3 manholes. Everyone that I've seen has been 2. And I just kind of curious as how that got drawn in there with 3 manholes.
Well, I think they called it something specific. Instead of the leaching
Well, no, yeah.
trenches, there are 3 something or others.
But that's in the driveway center
Yeah,
area.
but that's
So-
the leaching area, but on the septic tank where it's got it drawn in, there's 3 manhole covers on it.
I don't know where, oh, on his plan.
Yes.
On his plan, yes. This is a very big mystery. Is it built, it is 3.
Yeah.
What
And
do
I
they,
just,
don't they usually have 3 and they only have 1 open?
nope, all the ones I've seen are 2. And I've got a dual,
This is old. I mean, this was done back around 94, and this is the only thing I have that's all drawn on. Kind of shows the location, and you can see that it probably ran parallel to the old garage, wherever that was, the old barn, they called it.
Yeah, that was right center to where the leaching field is now. They demolished it and removed
Because it
that.
looks like they put the line right along the side of it and the leaching field beyond it.
Bob, the reason why they'll have 3 is that the pump out is in the center to get all the sludge and the top foamy stuff. And then they have the other 2 to get into the pipes if they have to be routed or something like that, if they're clogged. And then they also put pipes coming into the tank that go straight down. So that's why they have those other open, a lot of times it's just square blocks, they're only about that big.
yeah, but even so.
But I think that's why, that's the design.
Yeah. Okay, because.
Yeah, see, it says no more than 3 bedrooms shall be allowed at 65 Ridge Road. Well, 65 is actually 67. Wait a minute. No, at 65, and no more than 2 bedrooms shall be allowed at 67, because it started out being 63 and 65, which they later said was 65 and 67. So some of the files got screwed up because of that. It's really kind of convoluted and confusing.
Yeah, I'm learning there's a lot of documents that are not in order from the early 2000s and late 90s.
Well, the building department files had your 67 in with 65, because they never, it says 65 still, it should say 67, because 65s is all very specific and where it's supposed to be and such. So that's in there now.
Yeah.
I like a puzzle. And it's
I
been a
normally
puzzle.
like puzzles.
So, do we have enough information yet? Or disinformation, or it's,
I don't make the final decision, thank goodness.
Yeah.
You have all the information I found, so
Okay.
now it's yours. I don't know. It's
I don't
a
know,
complicated
there's
site.
been so much that's been going on there previously without being permitted.
And getting cease and desists from the building and from us.
Yeah, and I don't know,
Well, if
Is
I could,
there an opportunity for some mitigation on the property?
He's proposing mitigation.
yes.
There's not much land there to mitigate.
Well, the previously disturbed areas, he was going to put a rain garden at the back and restore an area. The thing is, the commission, if that is to be done, should make sure that that is done first before any work is done.
Okay,
No.
well, I was thinking, because it appears from the aerial photos that these, I don't know what to call them, the little seating areas were put in without a permit.
Yeah,
And I think that we should do an after the fact for those and have some kind of mitigation on the books for that.
okay, now he's put it in a rain garden in the back, behind the house, and some other mitigation work there behind the house,
This is what I
towards the
found.
reservoir.
Look at the aerial photos.
Any
That's
any
discovered.
type of 25-foot buffer restoration could be done there?
No.
Not really.
There's no room for it, unfortunately. It's all been demolished.
Well, I think there might be a little bit in the area that we had discussed with him that's just adjacent to the swimming pool area where the dog goes.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
I said if they were to,
I've been up over the swimming pool side. I did
you didn't go with me when we were talking about that?
not into the swimming pool area, no. I just.
On the
went
back side of it?
On the back side, yeah, okay, we
To the
looked
left.
over,
To the left of the pool.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, if you were standing at the landing,
Now, we walked up behind the house.
right, so it's right up in there. You had to go up the stairs
Yeah.
to get to here.
Yeah, okay, yes. Yes, we did discuss that, yes. I thought you meant up
No.
beyond the pool more. Okay,
But that's pretty much undisturbed, isn't it?
Behind the pool where the fence is?
Some of it
Yeah.
is.
After the fence.
okay.
Some of it is, except he was thinking of, I don't know, putting a rain garden on the inside of the walk area, or the outside. I think you were thinking of putting on the outside of the walk area, in between the walk and the pond?
Correct, and then planting on the other side of the walk area with the natives. You specifically mentioned the sweet pepper ferns and everything else to put on that side.
I think I said that I thought that the best place for the rain garden would be near the house.
Yes, exactly, and then on the opposite side of the walk
And then
towards
kind
the
of
water.
leave the opposite side and maybe add more
Correct,
natives to it. Because he does have quite a few native plants growing there, and the dog also uses
And
them.
are there any non-native plants growing in the buffer there?
I think there
Could be
were.
removed?
Yes,
There
were
weren't a
some-
lot, but,
There were some aggressive,
No.
yeah.
oh yeah, there were.
Yeah, you pointed out a
Invasives.
wisteria. that if it
Bittersweet,
does-
right?
Yeah.
Bittersweet vines, was it?
There was that, and then you pointed out a wisteria that should be relocated or capped off. and you were talking
Wisteria,
about
yeah.
having-
There were some vines that were going crazy over there.
Yeah.
I think that formalizing all that, the rain garden, the extra planting, the removal of invasive species, any way to maximize that mitigation to do an after the fact for those peninsula areas, just have it formalized in the
Records,
in the record. That's my suggestion.
Like a restoration and enforcement order type of thing?
Well, I'm calling it an after the fact. I don't know what the vehicle is to do this. I just feel like if these went in and were not permitted, there should be some kind of restoration activities to compensate for that.
I agree too.
I really
it's
don't
how
know what
to.
the terminology would be. I just think in our files, we should say we acknowledged that. And this was the mitigation that was determined after the fact. I don't know, wish Jim was here. He could tell us what to do.
can you write that into the order of conditions?
I would kind of like to continue this till the next meeting, and I can have orders of conditions ready by then. But I need to put my brain on and figure out how to deal with this, because, a lot of people have done this kind of thing on the reservoir, and we have to be able, any work on the reservoir or any water body should be consistent.
Yeah.
Well, if I may,
Right.
oh, I'm sorry. If I may, I've been communicating with you since we even had this idea to start doing the garage, and you know fully well that I am committed to any restorations that you guys may suggest. I've incorporated it into this plan with you now. I made changes and suggestions, and I'm happy to do it before we even break ground. So the last plan that I submitted when the original meeting took place on the larger plot plan, I incorporated the changes that you suggested. If there's other things that you'd like to see added into the restoration plan and those become part of the conditions, I'm happy to oblige with that as well. So I haven't been back at this property since I left as a kid to start my career, so I'm back, we're staying. We're taking over the property as my parents are retiring, and eventually we're going to eventually legally own it as well. We're going to refinance it and purchase it out from my parents. So I want to make sure that whatever it is that goes on moving forward is above board. I don't know what happened before what games or no games were played or whoever else does what on the lake. But like I shared with you and my previous liaison stuff that I've done, I'm more than happy to do it, and I'm passionate about the same topic. So,
Would you be willing to get some kind of a restoration landscaper to do the work and oversee it?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Judy, one thing when we visited the site, Rich, myself, and Jim, one thing he pointed out is that he's going to try to get some of that roof drainage away from going down into the lake, or redirect it over to the side where there's trees and shrubs, and come up with some other ideas of getting it into like a stone trench or something, so it's not all going down to the lake.
Yeah, there are a lot of nuances that need to be done as far as low-impact development techniques. Now, the roof runoff is clean. It's the stuff coming off of the landscaped or lawned area, or with the, where the dog does its business. And perhaps you could say the dog won't go in the backyard to do its business. I don't know. It's just all part of how can we get this to become a net environmental benefit instead of a detriment.
Okay.
Should we do a site visit out there and to work out the details if we need?
No, I think we've.
Well, I don't
we've
think that
vis-
we can't really tell him how to do it. We really need him to have
Yeah.
his own person do
yeah.
that with a real landscape plan. And I think that, if he's putting the budget into an addition, and this would be a good thing to do at the same time, beforehand, actually.
I don't know if the board can, because I don't know the rules, but you're welcome to put that as part of the order of conditions that we work with someone. I know you can't tell me who to go to,
Yeah,
because that becomes a conflict of interest, but if you want, similar to kind of like a land surveyor, there's a professional that does the land surveyors. If there's a professional that you guys want to put into the order of conditions and say, we need to see, you go to A, B, or like a professional that's licensed, like an environmental
We
designer.
could do
or
that,
something.
but it doesn't work.
No. Well,
We really need it on the plan, because a lot of people will say, well, I'm following the plan, and the plan doesn't have any of this on it. So if the plan itself were to reference a specific plan done by a landscape person that you have gotten,
So above and beyond the restorations that we've already discussed?
well, it doesn't, yeah, that looks nice, but it's not what some professional landscape architect type person would do, or a landscaper who does native plantings. I can show you other places that we've had specific landscaping plans for.
So Jane, you're asking him to hire somebody and develop a plan and then come back to us?
Beforehand,
Right,
yes,
right,
because the reason for that, like I said, is because I can't tell you how many times I've told people, and I can get an order of conditions ready for the next meeting, but we can't accept any more information we cannot accept any more information if this hearing is closed. So if we continue it to the next meeting, and I prepare an order of conditions, and you give me the new information that can all be on one plan, we probably won't have the problems that we've had in the past, which have been really difficult. That's the kiss of death if you say, put a condition in there for this.
Yeah.
And that plan could be used as the after-the-fact references that Judy was talking about in the past actions that weren't permitted. So that information, the restoration or any mitigation or how you're treating the, runoff can show up on that plan and probably satisfy the issue of everything that was done in the past.
I probably have some examples I could send your way.
When would the next meeting be?
September 21st.
Unfortunately, because of what,
Because of Labor Day.
And Labor Day is kind of
Because we won't
elections
have
and
time to
Labor
put it
Day.
together.
You wouldn't be able to get your order of conditions until that date regardless.
Yeah.
So if you can make good use of your time and get somebody committed to doing it who can draw you out a plan and make a notation about the specific plan references on your signed plan, because this would be like a restoration order for work that was unpermitted work that was done in the buffer zone. We can't turn a blind eye on it.
It's unfortunate. but-
It's not comfortable, but we have a lot of people coming before us, and we have to treat everyone the exact same way. And it is not comfortable.
So can you have that all compiled by the September 21st and ready to go at that point in time?
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. It's just a matter of finding down somebody that's qualified in that area as far as a subject matter expert goes, and then meeting with them and discussing what they would recommend, and then incorporating what we can.
They're hard to find, and that's the problem. Although there is an environmental, oh, send me an email. I've got some links that talk about people that you could use that are recommended by the Environmental Landscape Association or something like that. And there are some in town, I think. That would be okay.
So we want to make a motion to continue till September 21st?
I'll make that motion to continue till September 21st, 67 Ridge Road, DEP 157597.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Did everybody sign in over there? Okay. Opposed? Okay. See you on the 21st.
And send me an email, and I'll dig my stuff up, and I'll send it your way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It being 7:20, we have a continuation of NRAD for 157591. Is everybody signed in? Mr. Lucas, are you going to start off?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, good evening. My name is Adam Brodsky. I'm an
Okay.
environmental and land use attorney with Drowan and Tacho and Morgan and Hingham. And I'll speak first with respect to this ANRAD. I represent Pine Air LLC. You obviously know Chris Lucas, our professional wetlands scientist with Lucas Environmental, and Jonathan Novak, our registered professional engineer with Conoco, is also participating in the hearing. When this matter was last before the commission, Pine Air had proposed to reduce the scope of the ANRAD to attempt to reach common ground with the commission. We had offered to withdraw our request to delineate that contested portion of riverfront area. And at that time, our assumption was that the commission had no issues with our delineation of bordering land subject to flooding. When we found out that in fact there is a dispute regarding that issue, caused us concern. And I just want to make clear that if we're unable to resolve the dispute regarding the delineation of BLSF, that we will ask the commission to issue a decision on the complete scope of the ANRAD, including all of the resource areas, including the riverfront area. So I'm just going to focus briefly on BLSF and then turn it over to John. John submitted supplemental information, his August 18th letter, and John has opined that we delineated BLSF in strict compliance with both the DEP and Foxborough regulatory standards. Our delineation was based upon the FEMA study map, which in turn uses flood profile data. I also want to highlight the fact that you have a very specific local bylaw with respect to bordering land subject to flooding. And BLSF is defined under your bylaw by, and I'm quoting, the boundary or high water mark of the 100-year floodplain as shown on the FEMA study map, where that boundary is based on flood profile data. That's exactly what we did here in this instance. And if you viewed John's materials, that was the same methodology that was reviewed and approved by BSC Group in connection with the delineation of bordering land subject to flooding for the Deer Hill development for the same parcel several years ago. And so with that very brief summary, I'm going to turn it over to John to get into his opinion in more detail. John?
Good evening. Excuse me. As Adam said, I guess there's been some.
Excuse me.
He doesn't have video.
Okay. We've got a problem. Does he not have video at all? John, can you?
No.
Okay, the only question that I have, and I have no doubt that you are John, but there was a question brought up on a different case where the presenter was not identified, and there was a question as to actually whom was speaking, and there was a technical issue with that, and I don't want to get involved in that again as to actually who is speaking if we cannot see them. That's one of the unfortunate conditions with Zoom meetings. I like to have everybody here, obviously, but we can't do that. But the issue is, can we determine exactly who's speaking at all times?
Mr. Chairman, this is Adam Brodsky. There's no requirement that someone participate via video in these public hearings. I've attended any number of public hearings where people participated by telephone. I can assure you that this is Jonathan Novak, a registered professional engineer with Conoco, who I spoke with this afternoon, and we prepared together for this hearing. So I can give you that assurance.
All right. With that, I'll continue. I just want you to know that the issue has been brought up before, and I'm just trying to avoid any ramifications from it. That's all. Go ahead, John.
I guess what I can do is I can summarize the letter that I resubmitted as supplement for this project. Some of the comments that have come about the FEMA flood zone, as Adam said, it has been delineated based off of the FIS and the floodplain data, is that the study was done in 1979 and that there has potentially been some modification since then. While the hydraulic area and then the watershed subcatchment was originally delineated in 1979. The flood study was then updated in 2012 using updated precipitation levels or updated precipitation values such as from TP40, which is the current standard for FEMA. The study was updated in 2015 after that, but not in relationship to anywhere related to this Canoe River portion. So, as Adam stated, this delineation is the same methodology that was done for the previous development. There was no comment and no concerns previously, which happened after the update for the Deer Hill development. It was in 2015 and they confirmed the mapping and the delineation of BLSF as appropriate. Again, we know that that project was denied. We're not saying that that holds. We're just saying that during that presentation, there was no concerns from the board that by following FEMA and following the regulations that the delineation was done incorrectly. And then if you guys want, we can get into the ways the delineation is required to, but per DEP and then also per the bylaw, but that's in the letter. It summarizes it a little bit better than I would be able to. But again, it's purely based on the 100-year floodplain, based on the FEMA. And then there has been some discussions about the 2010 storms. There were several consecutive storms there. Technically, none of those storms were 100-year events. In the FEMA discussion of this, they talk about how that it is kind of a confluence of events that cause the rivers to crest and flooding to occur in several areas around the state of Massachusetts. And a lot of it has to do with the late level of storm, the fact that there was not a lot of evaporation occurring, and then it's just a progressive buildup. We just disagree with the fact that the statement that delineating it per the FEMA flood study, which is required by the bylaw and by DEP, is insufficient for this process for the NRED.
John, we've gone over this over and over. I guess let's go back. I'm going to go off record, I guess, or craziness, but back when you were doing the floodplain for the Deer Hill development, you were not able to design or have a bridge design for that area that would meet our regulations. If you're going over the same area, I'm so frustrated with this whole thing. You seem to be going over the same area that's been denied not once, not twice, but more than 3 times. And if we had a meeting early on in this whole process with Mr. Bottomley, and he said, how can this project get completed? I stated at that time, and I'll state again, go over the previously disturbed areas to get access to those, the land that you want to build the houses. I'm frustrated up to my eyeballs, and nothing is, Mr. Bottomley said that he would look into that. I haven't seen anything to indicate that he would go over the previously disturbed areas, and we're fighting over the same inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, or whatever, and I'm completely frustrated.
Mr. Chairman, this is Adam Brodsky. I think there may be some confusion here. We have not presented a project to the commission as part of this filing.
I understand that.
An abbreviated, if I might, sir, this is an abbreviated notice to delineate the resource areas. Based upon that delineation, we will then need to come forward with a notice of intent and demonstrate to you that the proposed project meets your performance standards. So all we're asking is to delineate the bordering land subject to flooding using the approved methodology. The issue of whether or not we can design, for example, a bridge, if that's ultimately what is going to be proposed that meets the performance standards is a separate issue. We just want to delineate the resource areas so that we can then go back and design a project that meets the performance standards. And I believe that both Chris and John have made it perfectly clear that we are evaluating alternatives. That was the reasoning behind taking off the table the disputed riverfront area by basically saying, listen, we're not going to do this now. We're going to go back based upon our delineations and we're going to design. But we can't do any design work unless we delineate bordering land subject to flooding. So I understand your frustration and your concerns regarding a future project, but that's not what's before you. All is before you are the delineation of what we thought were these undisputed resource areas. And again, with respect to BLSF, this is done entirely consistent with the regulations and we have no concerns regarding that. So I just want to make that distinction. So I hear you. There's frustration on our side because we did not anticipate that we'd have yet another delineation issue. But we remain committed to working with the commission to design a project, as I said, that meets your performance standards, but we need to take this first step and complete the delineation.
Jane?
I think I can sum things up pretty quickly. When the finger of land was being proposed to be removed from the ANRAD, even though we'd gone through all kinds of gyrations to figure out where it should be, the commission suggested that they might be agreeable to that if the bordering land subject to flooding adjacent to that finger was not approved. It's not the whole BLSF, because most of it is probably accurate where it does not become constricted by the culvert and spread out. So it's not, Chris Lucas said that he would ask Mr. Bottomley if he would agree to removing that piece if the commission agreed to removing the piece of that finger of wetland. It's going to have to be done some way, somehow anyways, but this all goes back to the floodplain study that was from 1979. It was not updated. This is a sparsely populated upper reach of the Canoe River that is not considered significant, obviously, to FEMA. During the 2015 revision, the commission, I checked, the commission was never informed about it because I was thinking, how did we miss it? They were not copied when that happened. They were not a part of the discussions when that happened. This has been discussed forever. For the Forge Estates, Mr. Conoco, Mr. Oates was going to give a copy of the actual flood study from 1979. We haven't been able to put our fingers on it, and in fact, it's probably not even in language we can understand because the 1978 study was based on regression equations, Johnson and Tasker 1974, and was probably a Fortran-based card file format, input and output files. The commission had asked the applicant's representatives for the actual flood study so that BSC could try and interpret it. I have all of the FEMA flood studies. I'm one of the people who's supposed to be in charge of it in town hall. So we have the documents that are online that anyone can download. I don't know what else to say. This is referring to Forge Estates review by BSC and implying that the commission had no problems with the floodplain it's not accurate. BSC are engineers and they review the engineering calculations associated with the superseding order of resource area delineation that the DEP had issued, because that was no longer on the table. They were using the ANRAD that had been approved prior to the Forge Estates, which had included that finger of land, by the way. So this letter is kind of taking a lot of things out of context that I have issues with, and I've drafted a letter for the commission to review and enter into the administrative record. But I just finished it, so unfortunately, I did not share it with you yet. I just only recently shared it with the commission. But it is in response to the supplement number 4.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is Adam Brodsky speaking again on behalf of the applicant. If the commission was presented with technical information in response to our supplement that was filed weeks ago, not provided with the applicant, I think that's inherently unfair. I take umbrage at the suggestion that we're not providing accurate information to the commission. We provided you with a full copy of actually the FIS study from 2015, which is the relevant study. We provide you with a full copy of the BSC review letter that speaks to bordering land subject to flooding. We provided you with a copy, I believe, of the order of conditions that related to the Deer Hill project. And I was not involved in that. I can't speak to that with personal knowledge. But the commission, in its findings, said that the Deer Hill had failed to provide sufficient information to determine whether the proposed project met the performance standard. In particular, I'm quoting, that without a bridge design and the requested NFIP flood profile data, the Conservation Commission is unable to determine whether the bridge could be located above the 100-year flood elevation so as to not restrict flows. You denied that aspect of the project because the bridge design did not comply with the performance standard. You didn't deny that aspect of the project because there was a question regarding the methodology used in order to delineate bordering land subject to flooding. I was entirely accurate when I told you that BSC group reviewed that. You can read it yourself and found no issue with the methodology. You denied it because you were presented with a project. We're talking about apples and oranges. To the extent, I don't know what flood study was provided by Deer Hill, but we have met our burden to provide you with the actual flood study that we are relying upon that provides all of the information that complies, again, with both DEP regulations as well as your bylaw. And again, Chris has not spoken on this. I don't know if he has anything else to say. Again, we want a fair playing field. On the eve of a hearing, we've been working on this for months to find out that somehow there's some additional information that was submitted to the Conservation Commission that we haven't had a chance to review. Really smacks of, again, it's sort of unequal application of the process and the regulations to this particular project, which has been one of our concerns. It comes as no surprise to me that this commission doesn't want to see this property developed. I can respect that, but we haven't presented a project for you to review for compliance with the performance standards. All we're asking is to confirm the delineation, which again, as far as I can understand, except with respect to that portion of the riverfront area where there's a dispute, I again thought that there was complete agreement. So, and Chris, I don't know if you have anything else to say on this issue.
Let me just throw one thing in. I have nothing against the land being developed. I've been quoted as saying that I'm anti that or not. I just want it done correctly and legally. He could put anything he wants in that land. That's his decision. But it's just got to be done legally and correctly. I'm not against the development. We've got a lot of development in this town, and to imply that we're anti-development is, in my opinion, erroneous.
I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Any comments from the board?
Nope.
Well, I really don't have anything to say right now. I was on vacation last week, and a 95-page supplemental 4 came in, and I didn't have time to. I was up in northern New Hampshire where there's no, very sparse internet connections. I haven't had a chance to even go through it.
I don't think reading through the floodplain study, Judy, you would have learned a heck of a lot. Excerpts from that study could have been presented to us. I was kind of amazed that we got this 95-page or whatever printed on one side for everybody. I know I'm on the Conservation Commission, but I'm also a conservative for waste of paper. So this could have been done a lot more economically. Jeff, any comments?
Chairman, I'm sorry.
Jeff?
No, I don't have anything right now.
Okay, Peter?
I was going to ask John, so you're referencing the 79 and the 2015, the updates that have been made via FEMA that Jane addressed that we didn't have any notification through as the town to put our observations in there. What changes were made between 79 and 2015?
The area, let me pull it back up here. In 2015,
I guess let me summarize it differently. Were there any significant changes between their findings in 79 versus 2015?
So in 2015, the areas that were modified were not in the remote location of the Canoe River. It was the, I believe, the 7-mile, 10-mile, and then the Wading
River, right? So further downstream, right? So really, they kind of glossed over this area. They didn't really look at it closely. To Jane's point, I guess is what I'm talking about.
They looked at it. They looked at it in 2012. Is what I was trying to say. This area was looked at in 2012. When they went and redid everything, there was a very large effort by FEMA in 2012 to do updates, and this area was looked at in 2012.
Okay, so, but the only thing that's changed is the datum between 1979 and now is the datum change. And we have had 2 times, once about every 10 years, where the water in that area exceeds the FEMA flood elevation due to an undersized culvert. It has exceeded the FEMA flood elevation. There is a problem with this area. I do not think that the FEMA maps are incorporating the constriction under East Street. That is what we originally wanted to find out. I mean, how can you gloss this over? It's flooded twice over the FEMA flood elevation of 174. We've been talking about this since 2008. Throughout the record about this problem of flooding in this area. It's a simple problem. Do the hydrological study. You have spent so much time fighting this. Just figure out what the accurate level is. Talk about frustration.
So Ms. Johnson, this is Adam Brodsky speaking. I'm not a registered professional engineer or hydrologist. I don't understand this, but I think you're confusing, again, 2 separate concepts. One, how you delineate bordering land subject to flooding, and what may be causing a localized flooding condition, because you can have ice form within that culvert that could cause a localized flooding condition, but that's not what is used to delineate bordering land subject to flooding. If the town wishes to address its localized flooding condition, it could take a look at the problems with that culvert. So I'm not disputing that there were observations in 2010 regarding these localized flooding, but that's not how you delineate bordering land subject to flooding. And so you're trying to solve a problem that's not our fault by denying us a delineation of this particular wetland resource area.
We're trying to find an accurate level of bordering land subject to flooding. It's exceeded, the FEMA flood elevation is exceeded. The 2 are the same. So, I mean, you can, that culvert fills up to the top during certain flood events. It's a constriction. Now, okay, just say you're not going to do the hydrological study. I've asked you a couple of times, and what the answer is no. Is that correct?
You haven't asked me to do anything, I'm sorry. I believe that we have satisfied our burden of proof to delineate bordering land subject to flooding using your own regulations and those of DEP. You're asking us to do something.
I'll take it as a no. I'll take that as a no. You will not do the study. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
We're not required to do the study. We're following the local regulation and the state regulations to delineate a resource area. Mr. Bodie, you even said it yourself, you want to do this legally and correctly. We are doing it legally and correctly. We're following not only your local regulation to the letter, we're also following the state. If the town wants that needs to be taken up with DEP or have your regulations amended. We are following the rules and the regulations.
ACEC. So there's some discretionary authority here in terms of how the resource, how important the sources are.
No, you might have some additional discretion on approving a project, but you don't have discretion in the delineation of these resource areas.
Jane, any comments?
I do want to say that the reason that this draft response to your comment letter came in from your 95-page submission last week when I took Friday off as well. I worked on it all day long. I didn't get it done until 2 seconds before the meeting. I gave it to the commission last minute, and it is a draft for them to review and approve. Because I would like it to be in the record as responding to the supplement number 4. So I take offense at your stating that it was at the last minute and not following what everyone else is doing. That's all I have to say.
So this is Adam Brodsky. I just want to clarify because again, the response letter is 4 pages. Attached to it are documents which the Conservation Commission already has in its file relating to this property. The only reason we submitted the entire FIS study, and again, I'll accept responsibility for not double copying it on both sides of the paper. That was wasteful, and you're actually correct, Mr. Chairman. In order to save paper, we should have double-sided that. But the only reason we submitted the complete study is that you denied the Deer Hill development because you said that they hadn't provided you with a study. So in order to check that box to make sure that the record is complete, that was why we attached the study. So we're simply providing to you the information that you apparently requested in Deer Hill that you thought was not contained within the record. As far as the submittal, we submitted a 4-page letter to the commission consistent with your policy that you want to see it ahead of time. I think it's entirely inappropriate to put into the record a letter that is apparently a technical response to our letter without sharing it first with us, so we have no practical way of reviewing it prior to the close of any public hearing. So it's going to come as no surprise that if ultimately you issue a decision and you do not agree with our delineation, that we are going to seek to exclude that letter from the administrative record because that's just unfair.
Any comments, David?
No. No.
Any comments from the audience? Close it?
I think that the commission should have the opportunity to respond to that supplemental number 4. I do, and they didn't have a chance to review this. And I want to get this over and done with just as much, if not more, than everyone else. But in all fairness, I think certain statements need to be clarified. And 2015 is not the last FEMA flood study because any preliminary, et cetera, flood study is the most recent information, and the most recent one was put out 6/19/2020. It's preliminary. It's an updated preliminary. That's partly what I reviewed today to see if there was any different information reviewed, and basically I just found out that it's the same thing. They didn't add any other new studies. As far as the study that was not submitted for the Forge Estates, like I said, we had the FEMA floodplain information. We did not have the study from 1979 because if it was a computerized study done back then, it was probably, well, like I said, somebody told me, the FEMA people told me it was probably Fortran, which I don't speak. So that is the study that was mentioned, not the study that anyone can get off of the internet. And I have the official CD even, because I'm one of the floodplain managers of the town. I'm one of the keeper of the records, so we had that information. We did not have the old study. And like Judy said, we wanted to find out if that culvert was in fact included in the study. The culvert has been a big problem.
Well, it's a constriction, so in that area, it backs up and it exceeds the FEMA flood elevation for the 100-year storm event. It's done it twice, once about every 10 years.
With a 10-year storm.
Yeah.
Not even a 100-year storm. Now, this is the upper watershed. The references that were made to the 2015 FEMA study state basically the Charles River and Dover, which is way, I mean, the watershed size at that location is probably quite large. The watershed in this location, it's simply the upper watershed. It's not considered a critical study point because most of the land upstream of this area is sparsely developed because a lot of it is conservation land. Apples and oranges, it's not comparing the same thing. I just wanted to clarify those points and include them in the record. I just didn't have time to get them done any earlier, even though I worked till 4 o'clock on Friday.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
To address Mr. Brodsky. So it was not your intent to submit this and not have this part of the record, is that correct?
I'm sorry, sir. Are you asking me regarding our?
No, I'm asking Jane.
What?
So your comment, so Mr. Brodsky asked about our response not being part of the record. We have not closed the hearing. So I'm assuming that we wanted that part of the record. That's correct, right?
I did. I thought it was appropriate.
Thank you. So, I mean, we're not doing something that's outside the record.
No, well, under the bylaw, if it were appealed under the bylaw, I think it's important to include the whole story because just the administrative record and no more additional information would be part of that record.
Yep.
And believe me, I did my best efforts to get this out, and I stayed past closing time at 12:30 on Friday. You can only do the best you can do. I had to do a lot of research to make sure that the statements were or were not accurate.
So Judy and Jeff, no one's seen it except us, and I haven't read it.
Yes, and I just sent it to you, like, when did I come downstairs?
Yeah.
The second before I came downstairs, which, isn't fair to you. It's not fair to anyone, but I apologize that I couldn't get it done sooner. I had most of the information. I thought I could just cut and paste it together, and it proved to be a little more difficult than it should have been, but nothing has been easy with this filing.
So you would like it continued till the 21st and then?
I would, but if they insist on closing the hearing tonight, you will need to close it and make your decision.
So I guess it's your choice whether you want to close it tonight or let us get this letter in If you want to exclude the letter, we'll close it tonight.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's simply not fair. We were intending on closing the public hearing. We had provided our information ahead of time as
We didn't know
required.
that.
And then again, at the last minute, without even sharing us a copy, it wasn't even sent to us. It was an attempt to put that into the record simply for litigation purposes. It just expresses the clear intent of the commission and what this process is. So yes, I don't think that letter should come into the record. And if it does, I'll do my best to try and get it excluded from the record because it's simply unfair.
So you don't think it's fair for the commission to respond?
Why do you think, why do you think it's fair to make a submittal and not allow a response? Why is that? I don't understand that.
So
you can make a submittal, but we can't respond?
No, I have no problem with the commission responding. I have a problem with the commission responding at the last minute, putting it in the record, not affording us an opportunity prior to a public hearing to review that submittal and provide our response.
I didn't know you intended to close the hearing.
We didn't have a chance to review your submittal.
Well, so I'm sorry, because the people go on vacation, it's not our problem. We comply with your policy of providing it ahead of time. Whether people review it or not, that's not our concern.
Wow.
And Crystal will remind me when this ANRAD was filed. I mean, it's been months. Again, we've had the COVID pandemic in the interim, and that's certainly no one's fault. But every time we get close to closing a hearing and reaching agreement, a new issue arises, new information is presented. It's simply a delaying tactic.
There's no information that's been presented here.
I don't know what your supplemental response is because it wasn't shared with us.
Let me read it
your
into the
agent just
record
said-
then. I will read it into the record right now.
So with all due respect, reading
With all
something
due
into the record.
respect, I will read it into the record.
Of technical nature without first affording us the prior opportunity to review it and to be prepared for it is simply unfair. This is a completely unfair process. And to require that this professional team sit here for another hour while, and I don't know how many pages it is, gets read into the record, again, shows disregard for the professionals that are trying to work on this project. We've tried our very best to work with the commission in good faith to narrow areas. And it's apparent you simply don't want this property developed, and you'll throw up any obstacle to that,
I couldn't care less.
including
You're
a
completely
last-minute
wrong on
attempt to
that.
put information to the record to guard against an appeal.
Well, I guess we all have our own opinions, but as I stated before, I have no objection to that area being developed. As I say, do it correctly and legally, and you're all set. So,
I had no idea that you were going to insist on closing it tonight. There was nothing that indicated that you would be closing this 95-page
well,
piece of information came last minute.
yeah, but it's the floodplain study. It's, yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
Go ahead, Jane.
What's that?
Go ahead, read it.
No.
No,
No, it's not fair.
so your choice, sirs. Close it or continue it?
Mr. Chairman, I have no authority from the client to continue the hearing, so I request that you please close it.
Don't look at me.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to close the hearing? Before we do that first, any last comments from the audience? Okay. Any last comments from the board? Peter?
No.
No. Jeff?
Nope.
Judy?
No.
Finished? Rich?
No.
Dave?
No.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing for 204 East Street, DEP 157-591.
Do I hear a second? Got everybody speak at once?
Okay. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Everybody wants to close it? It doesn't get closed? I guess it's continued, sir.
So, Mr. Chairman, I do not believe that you have the legal authority to continue a public hearing regarding an ANRAD without the consent of the applicant.
I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot agree or disagree with you on that, so.
Sorry.
Does anybody have any knowledge?
I believe that if the applicant says that they want it closed, you have to close it. But if people don't want to vote for that, I don't know how that I don't know what that does.
I don't know either.
I think it would only be fair to give the commission a chance to look at my letter. And I mean, honestly, I don't care if this is developed or not. I just don't like inaccuracies in the record. Perhaps you'd want to pull your supplemental 4. That would be fair, in my mind, if you rescind your supplemental 4. If we can't respond to it, I don't think it's right.
I have no idea what to do at this point.
Well, I do believe you have to close it, but the thing is, if this is not fair, responding to something that was given last minute in such a thickness, I don't know what to say.
So, wait, Bob and Jane, point of clarification since I'm the new guy here. So by closing this hearing, what are we doing? We're not administering a
If
ruling.
the hearing is closed, then that means there's no more information coming in, no additional comments from either side, and we have to make a decision whether to accept the delineations as presented or not. And we can either accept them or deny them.
And in addition to that, if the commission decides they want to deny any of it, the appeal to the DEP would be under the state's regulation. The appeal under the bylaw would be certiorari, and it would be just a review of the records, and it would have to be within 60 days as opposed to 10 days under the DEP. But the thing is, I could have the order of resource area delineation prepared for next meeting regardless. You can't get it until next meeting anyways, and we're probably going to have permission to extend the 21-day requirement, because I suspect, was the next meeting more than 21 days away? So you wouldn't be getting it until then anyway. So, I mean, if you would agree to keep it open until that date, and we'll close it specifically, definitely on that date, I can have the order ready. Because you wouldn't have it anyways.
How would you be able to draft an order if you don't know what the board's vote is? Are you issuing an approval or
That
a
is a
denial?
good point.
No.
That's a good point.
So that would not be a reasonable assumption that we could have the order ready that evening.
Yeah, there's that.
And for the board members, just so you're aware, we filed by your deadline. Supplement number 4 was filed by your set standard and deadline for supplemental information. We didn't file last minute, we filed prior to your deadline.
Digitally, when did you bring the paper version? I had to write all sorts of notes on the paper version because it was such a, this is what I did to prepare my letter. I've been reviewing this thing. And there are other filings, believe it or not.
That was acceptable.
Excuse me?
We confirmed with your staff that was acceptable, that we get the electronic copy in by the deadline.
Well, it was
with the hard
acceptable.
copy.
We didn't know it would be 95 pages long.
Again, as Mr. Brodsky stated, it was 4 pages with attachments for the record that you already have on file.
Yeah, but they referenced specifically those attachments, so I had to check the attachments. I mean, we can go around and around with this guy.
You've had them since October. I mean, you've had the letter since 2014. You've had this material.
What letter?
The BSC review letter was from 2015, 2014.
But that is not, that's not specifically, that was for the
That's one of the
subdivision,
attachments.
that wasn't for the delineation. The delineation was questioned ever since 2008. I did not double check and look to see what the SORAD approved, but I didn't get to that part. I don't just write these willy-nilly, I do a lot of research.
As a point of clarification, the 2008 delineation differed over BVW, IVW, and the mean annual high water. The BSC letter reviewed the FEMA floodplain in 2014.
They
That was one of
reviewed the
attachments. The other attachment was the
calculations.
flood insurance study.
They
which
reviewed
you
the
have.
calculations that the SORAD had approved. The superseding
Oh, they
order. They reviewed the calculations that you made, or that weren't made, for the design in the previously approved BLSF. They didn't review the BLSF itself.
They reviewed Conoco's work to determine the flood elevations on the site.
No,
using
no, the
available FEMA.
calculations. They reviewed the calculations regarding the design that was or was not actually submitted. You can't forget
They
that. I mean,
reviewed
that's
and
real.
confirmed the flood elevations are accurate, and then there was a debate about whether or not we met the performance standard for the work.
I believe that the wetland delineation for all of the, what went on in those was the state DEP wetland delineation. The wetland delineation under the bylaw was never approved, ever. We're only doing that now.
It was denied, yeah, but not
The
appealed.
wetland delineation under the bylaw was never approved. Yes.
The wetland, not the floodplain, correct. The wetland was not approved.
The wetland delineation under the bylaw was never approved. You're talking about the wetland delineation under the DEP. And I never agreed with the floodplain elevation. And then, you know, we submitted photographs when in the court trial of all the flooding. There's language in the you know, the decision about that, the flooding and the water going over East Street. It was talked about. You're doing yourself a disservice by not listening to Jane's rebuttal here. I can tell you that.
So I'm sorry, this is Adam Brodsky for the applicant. I would ask the commission to please review paragraph 16, which appears on pages 7 and 8 of the BSC peer review letter, which speaks directly to the question of whether the limits of the borderland subject to flooding should be shown in the plans based upon the actual elevations documented in the appropriate FEMA flood study that includes this portion of the Canoe River. BSC group ultimately determined that it was done correctly, and they considered that item closed. Again, it had to do with the mapping of bordering land subject to flooding in relation to the FEMA flood study map. You ultimately decided that the project did not meet the performance for bordering land subject to flooding because you didn't have a bridge design, and you also came up with the reason that you didn't have the flood profile data. You don't need to be bothered in this instance with a design because we don't have a design for you to review. This is an ANRED. And again, whether I thought it was an excuse or not, the request for the flood study data, we actually provided you with the flood study data that we rely upon to map BLSF. So you can just look at the BSC group letter for the accurate information. You draw your own conclusions regarding which version of events is accurate.
Could I read from the
Okay.
Judy, let me
Just
jump in
can I
first,
just
Judy.
read something from the court?
No, let me read this first. On the very first page of the BSC group, the end of the first paragraph, please further note that items that conclude with, "We consider this item closed," are not intended to represent completion to the satisfaction of the Conservation Commission, but are items that require no further direct response from the applicant. So it doesn't mean, even though it says this item is closed, it doesn't say that it's closed to the satisfaction of the commission. Now you can jump in, Judy.
Chairman, yes, no, thank you. Adam Brodsky, again, I understand that you needed to make a determination as to whether the project met the performance standards. What we're talking about here is mapping bordering land subject to flooding. And the only point of the BSC group letter that I really wish to make is that your own peer review consultant accepted the methodology that was proposed by the applicant. Ultimately, It was your decision as to whether the applicant met its burden of proof to show that the project met the performance standards. You said it did not. I believe it went on appeal. The appeal was dropped, and so the issue was never resolved. This is a very narrow technical issue. Did we accurately delineate bordering land subject to flooding using a DEP and your bylaw standards? And all we can say is we did it exactly as is required in this instance.
Okay, Judy, you had a comment you wanted to make?
Well, you made the comment, Bob, that, and the court recognized that, it was misinterpreted when our peer reviewer said that this item is closed, didn't mean that it was actually resolved. That's in the court documents. So you're missing, that means nothing when it says this item is closed.
Okay, so where are we now? We want to reconsider the vote?
Or maybe Judy would like to read the response letter.
No,
I don't have it.
No.
I sent it to you by email.
Let's, all right, let's,
I don't know what
Not
I
gonna
have
get it.
here, Jane.
Okay.
Oh, okay, never mind.
never mind, it's a moot point at this point in time.
I just have one other observation. You're trying to change the mean annual high water elevation in this new filing. So you're allowed to make changes, but we can't, resolve something that's kind of been out there for a long time to our satisfaction. I mean, why are you the only ones that get to propose a change in this new filing? You keep going back to the other filing, that's what it was, that's what it was, that's what it was. We have a problem with the 100-year flood elevation in this area. It's become abundantly clear. And I just don't understand why you would want to ignore that. Why not just get it right? You've spent so much money on this project, just get it right.
So Ms. Johnson, again, I'm led to believe that the Conservation Commission requested that the town conduct a hydrogeologic study of this area in order to provide supplemental information to FEMA because the commission believes that the mapping is inaccurate. That's the appropriate way of addressing your concern. That is not the concern of the applicant here. The applicant's concern here is to submit a delineation that conforms to the regulations. Again, I applaud your efforts to protect and preserve the environment. Your beef is with the town and FEMA and not with my client who's simply not even designing a project, simply trying to delineate land consistent with the existing regulations. So we wish you, I guess, again, you're appropriately pursuing your concerns, but those concerns are not relevant to the discussion in front of us.
Oh, so Mr. Brodsky, so you're talking about the letter that was sent to the Board of Selectmen that you have had a chance to review? That can be added as a part of the record then if you are associating it with this filing, because basically my response took out pieces of that letter. So perhaps just including that letter in the administrative record is adequate to address the supplement 4.
Okay.
So again, we're playing games here with the administrative record.
No,
the commission,
we're not.
The selectmen, I wrote a letter on behalf of my client to respond to that. The commission was copied on that letter. No secrets, everything above board, everything up front. Whether that's, I assume that correspondence would be included within the record. It references the file number. My problem is with with documents that are drafted, submitted to, looks like some of the commissioners, but not others. I have no idea whether this be compliance with the open meeting law, but my real issue here is trying to submit something into the record on the eve of the close of the hearing without first giving it to the applicant for an opportunity to review and be prepared to respond to.
I will
And that's
repeat,
how this
I did
game is
not know it was
apparently
going to be
being-
closed tonight. I did not know it would be closed tonight. It's been continued for quite a
Why
long
would
time.
it, this has been pending for months and months and months. We can't keep doing this. This is very expensive for the client.
I thought it
I
would be
think the
closed at the
application-
last one when they took off the finger at the last minute, and the commission said, well, why not take out the associated bordering land subject to flooding? You know, that they were ready to close it on that night.
Right, because again, the commission had raised for the first time the BLSF. That's an example of the problem. We have sort of incremental cutting of the applicant here. You know, we come in with a compromise, and then the commission raises a new issue that we did not understand was an issue. That's fine. You don't need to accept our compromise. We then provided you with our information ahead of time, and we presented it. And our consultants are here to answer any questions you've got, any additional questions you got. What I object to is sticking in the record something that we haven't seen before of a technical nature. As I
It
said,
wasn't
I think
intentional.
that's just unfair.
It was not intentional.
This is one of the unfortunate things of a Zoom meeting. Had we all been here, we could have discussed it. It's the, I won't blame it on the COVID-19, but yeah, that's part of the issue. So
I would have been happy to give you a copy.
yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, that's not the issue, because it could have been emailed to us, right? And we would have at least had a chance to read it prior to the, we didn't even know of its existence until.
They didn't either.
Until Ms. Pierce identified it.
either.
So,
Okay. Let's not argue about that.
No, let's
It's,
not. I don't want to. I'm
So-
not saying anymore.
Again, I'll ask for a reconsideration. Anybody want to make a new motion?
So, Bob, I don't, like, as Mr. Brodsky mentions, I don't know if we have any choice. You know, I'm not sure that I'm not sure we agree. I'm not sure what the finding is gonna be, but, you know, as far as what we need to do to close, and, you know, I don't think we have a choice as far as, once we close the hearing, we close the hearing. I don't think we have a choice on that. You know, you know, there's a lot of things going on right now with this project. You know, we feel that the floodplain elevations are incorrect. But I don't, like I say, I don't think we have any choice. And I do know that the response on the filing, you know, one of the comments that was made about having things in the record from 2014, you know, unless they were submitted as part of the package for this particular filing, then they're not part of this record. You know, that's something that did come up, was mentioned. But as far as people who have not been on the commission prior to that, they're not part of our file. So it's, you know, we're being asked to look at this as a separate item, not from historical stuff, other than things that were being done in the record as presented. But I don't think we have a choice as far as moving forward with closing the hearing and, you know, voting on the delineation.
Hey, Bob, one administrative thing. When you close it, would you make sure that you have 21-day waiver, an acceptance of a 21-day waiver to issue the order of conditions? I mean, order of resource area delineation.
Okay. If we close the meeting tonight, sir, can we get a permission to extend the 21 days since our next meeting is not until September due to conflict, Labor Day and other conflicts with this room? Can we get a 21-day waiver?
Again, my client is not present. I can't agree to any waivers, Mr. Chairman. I mean no disrespect to you or the commission. I just don't have my client here this evening.
Okay.
So I have another question. So I don't even know which filing we would be approving because the maps have changed. So I don't know. Do we know which resource area delineation that we're actually approving? Are we approving the one that doesn't have the finger on it? Are we approving one that does? Are we approving which map are we approving?
As I mentioned earlier, we're not in a position to take anything off the table. We're asking you to approve the delineation that's reflected in. And Chris, can you give me a plan reference, please?
Yes, we submitted plans on the April 8th letter, which include two graphics and then the plan set, which at the time we were looking to remove the finger, but we would want that included if we're not going to reach a consensus on the floodplain.
Okay, so do we have a set of plans that you're not going to be able to have any additional information here after this? Do we have a set of plans that you want us to approve?
I'll have to confirm the date if you can give me a minute. John, unless you know the previous version.
You're looking for the Rev 2 drawings, Chris?
I believe so. Let me check the supplements.
The Rev 2, I believe, was 1/17/2020.
I believe that's the set we would be looking for confirmation on at this time. Let me just pull that up.
Is that with or without the finger?
That's confirming our delineation of the mean annual high water line, not the commission's opinion. We were looking to move this forward and find an amenable way forward with this, and we agreed to take it out, but that's when we thought we were resolved with the floodplain issues.
Okay, make sure you get the right set of plans.
I know, and I don't have them in front of me because I didn't really expect this to be closed tonight. So.
Yeah. Do we have a date on those plans and any revisions listed so that we can, since we don't have the plans in front of us?
Yeah, those would be the January 17th plan set. That's when we were discussing the red and the green lines, but that plan shows the area that we were looking to have confirmed.
And any revisions?
Chris, that's this one, right?
Yeah, that's the plan set is dated October 10th, 2019, revised through January 17th, 2020. Correct, John?
Yes, that's what I have.
You get that, Jane?
Yeah, I wrote it down. I'm sure
Okay.
I must have it somewhere.
Okay.
I'm all confused now. I don't know what
That was submitted. That was submitted with our supplement number 2 on January 17th in 2020. And then supplement number 3 was submitted on April 8th, 2020, where we revised the plans to remove that finger and we marked it on the plan. But at this point, we would want everything reviewed and confirmed.
Mr. Lucas, can you, I don't know if it would be helpful, if you could put it up on the screen and just go through that briefly and where the finger is?
I can. Do I have permission to share the screen?
Bob?
Yep.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, yes, but
Yep.
Bob, that's okay, right?
Certainly.
Yep.
The host has disabled screen sharing.
Oh.
Our technician is coming on.
All right, so you're looking for a technical permission to share your screen.
I'm looking for physical permission to share it.
Physical.
Yeah, technical, not.
The host has to do it, I think.
Correct.
The first Zoom meeting that I was at June 1st. I was one of the co-hosts, so I could share my screen. Usually you have to set that up beforehand, I think.
Yeah.
No, it's just like something you can click, usually.
Really?
Yeah.
Who he?
Him.
Oh, gosh.
Should work.
It should work. Now it looks like we've lost everyone.
No, that's his.
We're here.
Oh, that's his screen. Oh, okay.
Let me see.
Did you get it?
Where'd it
It
go?
still says host disabled, participant screen sharing when I click on share my screen.
Oh. I wouldn't do a thing like that to you.
That's not his screen.
That's not Chris'
No, that's not mine.
screen.
So Chris, can you go up in the top view options, request remote control?
Just hold it up.
Looking for it.
Change it
Yeah,
back
just hold it
to-
up.
I just saw the button for it. Now it's gone.
Yeah, it's changing on the host side, on the back of the
Mike's calling him up to tell him how to do it,
side.
Is Mike watching it?
probably.
Oh, there we go. Share screen. You got it on the bottom?
I can see share screen, but it still says host disabled, participant screen
Okay.
sharing.
Because I didn't see you do that before.
Screen share all.
Should be a button in there. The host can go in and change it.
Oh, right up at the top, right at the top, there you go. Oh.
All right, try now.
Oh, here we go. All right, let me find it. All right, I had it, and then somebody else is sharing now because it says I can't share while someone else is sharing their screen. Okay.
Try it now.
Okay, hold on. All right, I've got my windows. Let me find. I got to find the file. Sorry, I have a lot of windows open here. Let's see, 210. I believe this is the file. Can everyone see this?
Okay,
Yay.
we got it.
All right, thank you. So this is the October 10th, 2019 set we revised effective January 17th. Shows the overview sheet. Then there's kind of a scale showing the entire property. And then sheet 3 shows the resource areas. And on this one, we have some of the old lines showing the topography that we've debated extensively over the last few months, but this shows the line where we believe the mean annual high water is down in the low area along the bank. Shows all the other resource areas, the BVW limits, the remaining bank limits, the riverfront area, and the floodplain. The floodplain being this line here with the various elevations as it goes across the site. We've attached there were a few other sheets in here that had additional information that the commission asked for. We wouldn't be seeking approval for these. It was just additional information, but it would be sheets 1, 2, and 3 would be what we'd be looking for approval on at this time.
Okay. You got that?
I can zoom in on an area if you'd like.
So this is Peter. This is the plans that are approved that you guys sent on January 17th. Is that correct?
Correct.
They submitted. I wouldn't say approved.
All right.
Submitted, yes.
Submitted. Yeah. My.
We were hoping approved.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah, just to clarify there, yeah.
Right.
Can everyone see those, the plans, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got them.
So that includes the finger of land that we're talking about on this plan?
It does not.
It does
No
not.
finger.
There's no finger.
So the area, The area in debate we're calling a finger is generally,
Right.
and moving here, it's generally in this area. The commission's been of an opinion that it extends out somewhat in this vicinity, which we've shown on the April 8th sheets.
So
It was the April 10th sheet, I believe. April 1st sheets. But this is the area. We believe the line is down here. The commission has been arguing that it's in this delineation. We had proposed taking this area off the NRED forward to get an approval because we thought we were all in agreement on the remaining resource areas. And we presented at the last hearing that was not the case. And if we are truly an impasse on the floodplain, we want to move forward and close the hearing for an approval with the mean annual high water here, not exclude this area. So we would be looking to use sheets 1, 2, and 3 of this plan set.
So you're looking to not exclude that area, is that what you just said?
Correct. We want that line confirmed as part of the NRED.
No, so by not exclude the area, meaning you don't want to exclude the finger, what we're calling the finger, you want to leave the finger in there? The area that we're disputing?
We want the area of dispute approved. We want we're requesting the commission approve
Just that,
our
right?
line. We would
They
take
have,
off the table in the April revisions. We took this off the table and said, we'll confirm it during the NOI if we need to. Because Mr. Bottomley was serious about looking at moving the bridge in any future project to another location as Mr. Bodie and Ms. Pierce had requested. However, he hasn't spent any money on design until we have the floodplain confirmed because the floodplain is critical no matter where we design this.
Okay, so let me understand. So if we're taking that out, so just following it through, if you take that off the table and there's no, if we haven't reached consensus on it, so then does any design on that road or quote bridge that potentially could be there, is that going to be affected by this area that we're not agreeing on?
If we take the debate about the mean annual high water and this portion out, it could affect a future design.
Yeah. So you got.
The floodplain's more critical for anything we do.
Round and around we go.
Right.
But
Yeah.
again, going back to my question of original crossing at the previously disturbed area, how could that affect the area upstream from there? If that's the disputed area either stays in or comes out?
So we need confirmation on the floodplain elevations. Ms. Johnson and Ms. Pierce are arguing that the floodplain data is wrong. If it's wrong, it can't be wrong on just one little piece. That means because we interpolate the data across the entire site. So if it's higher here, it's going to be higher across the site.
No.
We can't design a bridge in the area you're asking us to unless we have the floodplain line confirmed now. Mr. Bottomley is not willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars on an engineering cost with Conoco to design something without a flood elevation.
Okay.
So it's critical we have that floodplain confirmed now.
All right. Can you go back to one larger layout? Okay. The previously disturbed area, what's the elevation up in where they restored area? All right. That area, what's the elevation there versus the area where the finger is, the so-called finger?
John, do you know, I know it extrapolates, do you know what the approximate female elevation is through that area?
I believe the area along the 823, 824, 825 is 176.
Okay.
Okay, what about 822?
177 to the west and 175 to the east of that.
Right.
Okay, what's the elevation, say, at A22, which is the edge, the corner there of the, yeah.
Just contour?
Yeah.
That's looked to me like it's, I believe, 174.
Okay, and then what's the elevation again down at the disputed, quote, finger area? Down in there?
I believe this is, John, is this 171?
There's so many lines there.
I know. Do we have it on, is it on the next sheet?
It's on the if you go to the, I think, I think is, I think we have it just on the existing conditions on sheet 2.
Clara, clean that up. All right, so that would be, that's roughly 171 down in here. This area, this is elevation 171.
Okay. And then you got 174 up there, so you got a 3-foot difference.
174? That's supposed to be down near the East Street, I think.
No, that does appear to be 174 by the 822 flag, appears to be 174.
So that's a 3-foot difference. I mean, if we're arguing about an inch or two at the 171, how is that going to affect a bridge or some kind of a crossing at the previously disturbed area? That's what I cannot get through my skull. I'm kind of old and ancient, but I still need some kind of a clarification on that.
Well, you're arguing that the FEMA elevation is incorrect. We're using the correct, what we believe is the correct elevation to determine the project. We need to have a confirmed elevation. The commission's provided nothing to what elevation you believe it is.
We think that, no, the FEMA elevation problem is at the other end where it crosses East Street because it backs up at the culvert. And then it goes around and it crosses East Street. So.
Well, we could keep going around and around on this all night. I'm just showing you the plan, showing the areas we're looking for. We would like this sheet 3, sheets 1, 2, and 3 will be what we're looking to be confirmed at this time. Our opinion is mean high water is down here. This is where we believe the floodplain is accurately represented. We've shown the BVW, which the commission has previously agreed with, the IVW limits, and the remaining resource areas. We're just trying to clarify what plan sheets we're seeking approval on.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Again, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a second motion to close the hearing on 204 East Street, DEP 157-591.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 3,
Aye.
4. Got it? Okay. Objections? None? Hearing's closed. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is the commission intending on deliberating on this evening?
Are we going to have to?
We're going to have to.
Mr. Chairman, I thought we requested that they give us more than 21 days since we officially can't meet.
They won't do that.
He's
Client's not there.
He can't do it.
Even though we closed the hearing for them.
Yeah.
They can't do that favor back in return.
No. Any chance of contacting Mr. Bottomley and asking for the 21-day extension, or?
I can call him. I don't know if he's going to pick up right now.
Okay.
It would be appreciated if we could get that 21-day extension so we don't have to write the order of condition. We can't write the
Meeting
order.
on the 14th.
We can't approve anything.
Yeah.
Well, we may need to have a meeting on the 14th just to discuss this.
Okay.
Only, period.
All right.
Board of Health has this room.
Well, we can.
Well, then
That's
it's
the
not going to
Zoom.
have, they won't be able to televise it is all.
Can we televise from the library?
I have no idea. No,
Yeah. We can't?
no. They're not set up.
How could I do it?
Chairman,
I might be able to Zoom on my, I don't know, on my laptop.
Mr. Chairman, we'll try and reach Mr. Bottomley. I literally don't know where he is, whether he's around on vacation or whatnot. And we're happy to inform the commission as soon as we hear from him whether he's willing to do that or not. So I don't know if that after the fact we agree to a waiver, that might take some of the pressure off of you. I simply wanted to know whether you intended tonight to deliberate. So
No,
I
it
could
wasn't
stay
my
on the wall.
intention to deliberate tonight, no, but if it's necessary, we'll bite the bullet and do it. Can we tentatively schedule a meeting? We've got time to do it as far as,
Yeah, we don't have all of the facts in front of us because,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I could draft up some suggested
Is the
findings.
McGinty room, is that,
No, they're not letting you use McGinty at all.
oh, they're not?
No,
What about the high school? Can they do it from there?
I don't know what the policy is with the high school. School committee's been meeting here.
Well, the conference rooms have these great big TV screens. I wonder if we could just do a regular old Zoom meeting.
The town does not have a Zoom account. Foxborough Cable has it. That's why everything has to go through them.
Could we do it at Foxborough Cable? I don't know if they could accommodate us.
I don't know. All the meetings have
That's
been
right.
through this room. That's
Yeah.
how everything's been.
Well, if we have all the members go to the library, it doesn't have to be televised.
But, no, but the audience has to be, if we have a public meeting.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I think maybe we can't have it by Zoom. We'll just have to have a regular meeting in a room big enough for people to socially distance.
Yeah,
Maybe. On the 14th. We'll have to do it on the 14th. That
Okay.
way, if that's the case. So if people want to watch, they're going to have to come to that meeting. And they're all being notified of it right now.
okay.
Foxborough Cable could be at that meeting with it, you know,
They're the
directly-
ones that have the Zoom fancy
Yeah, not the Zoom,
shenanigans.
the cable themselves.
Oh, yeah,
One of the
yeah,
people,
okay,
you know,
okay.
just set up a TV thing and just film it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think having just a meeting and saying,
Was
Yeah.
anyone from your side planning to attend the discussion? Or, I don't want to, I'm trying to figure out how we can have a meeting with the COVID-19 regulations. If we get just the commission members, were you planning to make a presentation or anything at that meeting,
can't
Mr. Lucas?
accept any new information. They should be
Right.
able to
Well,
just
okay,
watch.
but they can, well.
They
were you
don't even
planning
need to be able to say anything.
Yeah, were you planning to attend the meeting, put it that way?
So, Mr. Chairman, yeah, we have no ability to present, but we certainly would want someone there. We'd have to figure that out. I cannot attend anything in person. My wife has autoimmune issues, and so I'm being very careful, which is why I'm not there tonight. I think Chris has a baby coming on the way, and so we'll have to work it out. And again, we'll do our best to reach Mr. Bodley and see what we can do to accommodate the commission.
Okay. Well, we'll schedule a meeting on the 14th to be, location to be announced, and we will let you know.
How about just in case? And otherwise, the 21-day waiver would allow us to have it at the regular scheduled date.
Yeah, we'll tentatively schedule the 14th. If we get the approval for the 21-day extension, we'll have it at our next meeting. We'll discuss it.
Thank you, sir.
That agreeable?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? for this
One more thing,
One more?
not for this thing.
Oh, okay, all right. Thank you all, and we'll be in contact.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Good night.
Okay. Okay, no minutes. You've got a certificate of compliance for Wilkerson Way. Did you check that out?
Yeah, it's fine. It was pretty much issued before anyways, and
Yep.
it looks like everything is fine.
You want to say anything about it, or just?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right. We have a request for a certificate of compliance, 157476, 9 Wilkerson Way. As a certificate had been issued years ago. They did not register it, so now I guess there's a house sale, so it's just
Need it.
administrative to get them a certificate. So somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for 9 Wilkinson Way, DEP 157-476, for the request certificate of condition. Sorry.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
All right.
Mr. Chairman, we'll need another signature for someone to come in.
I'll be there. I'll just have Diana lay them out and I'll
Okay,
sign everything.
thank you.
That's all I.
Do you have anything else, Jane?
Well, I do, but not now. I'm done.
Yeah, you're done.
I'm really done.
Okay.
My
Anybody
brain
else
has
have anything?
officially melted.
Anyone else have anything? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to close this hearing.
How about the meeting? Okay.
The meeting, everything.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, all. Thank you.